Welcome to Mrs. L's Math World. So in this video, we are going to introduce how to work on for the examples. Okay, so this is the formula list for the identities, and we will use it to do example 10.11. So let's start from part A. So whenever we got the sine, cosine, and tangent, we can actually do it by putting it to changing it to quadrant 4 with 360 degrees minus the degree. Alright? And it is useful to draw the CAST in order to help us to check the sign. In this case, it is quadrant 4, so it is negative for the sine 75 degrees. Okay. So for cosine, you see that for 105 degrees, this is originally in quadrant 2, and we change it by using cosine 180 degrees minus theta, this one. So you also check it out, it becomes negative cosine theta. The theta is 75 degrees. Okay. And you do it similarly for tangent. So this time we will see that 230 is quadrant 3. And we want to make it to be an acute angle, so we change it to 230 becomes 180 degrees plus 50 degrees. So this time the acute angles becomes 50. And it is in quadrant 3, so it will become positive. Okay. So in this example, you will see that the most important point is to whenever you change the sine, cosine, tangent for the angles, from a flat angle which is not lying inside from 0 to 90, to change it back to an acute angle. And the rule just follow the CAST with the sign to check out the sign, but the trigonometric ratio which is also the same. Okay, so please also highlight for type 1, we have no need to change the trigonometric ratio when we do calculation. And let's move on the next page. So in this example, we are also going to use trigonometric ratios to find the value by using the identities. So this time, to save time, let me write down the quadrant for 120 and also for 315. So in case if you forget, the trigo table is here for your reference. So calculate one by one. Sine 60 degrees will be equal to square root over 2. So we do it similarly for the rest. Okay. So 315 degrees, change it to acute first. It is quadrant 4, so you need to add a negative. It becomes tangent 45 degrees, so it equals to 1, and put back the negative. Right, but cosine 600 degrees is a little bit troublesome because it's out of 360. So we need to calculate for the values of cosine, which is 240. Because it goes for one round less, it will be the same for the value. Is it in quadrant 3? So it becomes 180 degrees, and you find the angle, which should be 60. So right now we have cosine 60 degrees, and you can check it out. The value is equals to negative 1 over 2. Okay. And so for this part, the focus changes to how to find the quadrants. So you see that in this part, I use the way to calculate by writing the quadrants one by one. This method is actually quite useful because you can save time in checking it out like this. Just draw the 4 important angles and you can refer it to check out the quadrants easily. So you can see that this is for sine theta, which is quadrant 2 is positive, and then this is quadrant 4, because you can change it by having a 360 degrees minus theta. It's also quadrant 4. Okay. So remember to put the bracket because it represents a value going to multiply for the other one. So this is quadrant 3 here. And you can find out it is negative cosine theta. So don't forget that we have an identities to handle tangent, which is sine over cosine. Don't forget this is positive after we handle the sine. Because identities for which you have learned in form 3. So we cancel the cosine theta, so we will get sine theta plus sine theta. Add it together so we can simplify it. Right? So the case is actually similar when you do a question which is more troublesome, which is in part B. So for part B, the question is 1 minus 360 degrees plus theta times cosine theta divided by sine 360 degrees minus theta times sine 100 degrees plus theta. Okay, so let's do it one by one. Okay. So let's copy 1 minus first, and then you check out for the quadrants one by one. Alright, so after we do so, we check the sine one by one. For cosine, we keep the cosine, remember, and then you have cosine theta. The second one just copy. And the third one it is negative sine theta because it's in quadrant 4. And lastly, it is in quadrant 4 for 180 degrees, quadrant 3 for 180 degrees plus theta. So calculate, simplify, and you get 1 minus cosine square theta divided by sine square theta. So to do so, we need to use an identities to help to simplify. So you have learned this in form 3, sine square theta plus cosine square theta equals to 1. So move the cosine square theta to the right. So the green part will become sine square theta. Cancel it out, you get 1, and it is simplified. Okay, so in this session, the most important point is to how to handle the expressions by checking out the sign carefully, and with the way to find out the corresponding quadrants. And sometimes you may need the help to calculate using the identities. So I hope you can understand this part for the trigonometric identities, and we will have part 2 later on. So that's the end of this session. See you next time.